Here we go. We're live. Such beautiful words.
Did you have a stroke,
I don't
old
know
man?
about that.
Well, welcome to another edition of Last Newsdesk from the Left. And while we still have some semblance of a free press and democracy, let's get this show on the road. We continue season 1 amid the turmoil going on in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Mac Paladin, and of course I have the crew behind me with Adam.
Hello.
And of course we got Kevin.
You're welcome, America. It could have been worse without us.
Golix is here.
Uh-huh.
Petty fans hanging out in the gallery.
I have yet to be drug off to the gulag.
And of course, Twilight Winter is lurking in the back.
Howdy.
Woo! So I'm just gonna let you guys go at it here. Happy fucking New Year! Oh, it's gonna be a peaceful transfer of power.
Whoever
I mean-
thought that was on drugs.
Yeah. This is what happened.
Oh, the transfer is
The transfer
still happening.
Yep, it's still gonna happen.
Yeah, but the peaceful part is what's in dispute.
Yeah, well.
If I put hashtag peaceful transfer of power on Twitter right now, I will get a "this fact is disputed" by multiple sources.
Did they actually do the
Yeah.
count? I heard they were going to do that at
They're doing it right now as we speak. They're voting on it. I don't know if they finished the vote in the House. but
Oh,
they
right,
did-
because some of the fuckheads are still objecting.
Yes.
They need to
Yes,
be
you have
shot
to know
out
that.
into the fucking, Atlantic Ocean.
And
You know-
that's the majority of the House Republican caucus, including the minority leader, Mr. McCarthy of California. So,
They should all be expelled. They should be locked in the fucking tower.
yeah, they should.
I am
But-
with this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's time we get Elizabethan on these guys' asses.
Yeah, well.
It's like, well, how many votes did it pass by? It passed by 4 votes, my lord. What can I say?
mhm. Well.
People suck.
I don't know. I'm tired of the self-fulfilling prophecy bullshit. Well, people are angry. Yeah, because you made them angry, you fucking morons.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
put the you put the gasoline down, you lit the match. What did you expect?
Yep.
You made the call, they answered it.
So after Trump's overt tweet inciting resurrection and the attack on the Capitol because of it, what do you think the chances are of them actually invoking the 25th Amendment?
Decent.
I don't know.
What do you
I mean-
think? What do you think the chances are of a second impeachment?
None.
Depends on how fast they can go, but not great.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's too late in the game.
Yeah.
If
Well,
he
some people have pointed out, I mean, they're drafting articles.
Well,
but,
there would be a
some people
point.
pointed out the purpose
Yeah,
of it is not to get him out. It's to keep him from ever holding office again.
Right. That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. Is there is a point to that? It's not merely.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get it done in 13 days at this point, and there's not going to be 17 Republicans to vote for it. Still, at this point in time, I don't think.
I guess it depends
You would
also
think,
what he
you would
does
think
from
after
now
this.
to then.
I mean, how many Republicans want to be actually tied to insurrection?
Mm-hmm.
They
A
want the
lot of them,
Yeah, they
seemingly.
Yeah. 121 House Republicans apparently, because the vote did went down in the House, and Arizona's objection has been overruled officially now.
Yeah.
Although it was official when the Senate shot it down 93-6, but now it's really double official.
And Giuliani is apparently still trying to get them to delay it.
Well,
And
fuck him.
I'm sure he's getting
Yeah.
laughed at.
Oh no, that was why I was saying that.
Fuck him sideways with a broken tooth, rusty chainsaw.
May he melt along with the rest of his hair.
I mean,
There we go.
let me
By the way, I totally don't care if tonight's video has questionable monetization status. So just go nuts.
we're just gonna violate it. We're just gonna violate it tonight.
That sounds so wrong.
So
That's why it's so right.
Fair.
Now apparently they're not going to challenge as many states as they were going into the day. They're just going to challenge Arizona and Pennsylvania, right? Well, if you did throw those two out, which of course they won't, but if you did, Joe Biden would still have 275 electoral votes.
Yeah.
So
basically, it's a pointless gesture.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty freaking much.
Well, I mean, but that tune, I can imagine though that tune changes because everybody's changed their shorts a couple of times since the Capitol building was nearly razed to the ground.
Yeah, who would have thought when your life is in danger, maybe
when you got mobs roaming the halls looking for Mike Pence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, not in America. This couldn't possibly happen in America. It's like I like to refer you to some people who were around in April of 1861.
They want Mike Pence as in his role as the presenter of the Oscars to decide who the actual winner for Best Picture is.
Yeah. The only bald statue he's ever given out is to Mother.
Oh God.
Sorry. Was that inappropriate? That sounded inappropriate.
I mean, to anyone else, it probably would be, but I think it might actually be too good for Pence.
If anybody gets that reference, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they absolutely would have burned those ballots if they had gotten in.
Oh yeah.
Or if they hadn't been taken out, rather.
Well, let me ask you this: would it have made any difference?
If
it would have been a more effective delaying tactic if they didn't have the physical things to count anymore. I imagine duplicates exist somewhere.
Yeah, they digitized it at the National Archive, so
they still would have had to fucking reprint this shit or whatever.
Right, but it would still be a delay because they do have it, copied and put into the system. So
see how anybody could ever see themselves as the adult in the room after this. It's like or even want to be is more the point. Because it's just like, all right, like as I said, it's time to start sending people off to the fucking gulag.
Or at the very least the supermax.
Right.
Yeah, there definitely there should be sedition charges.
Send them with
a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Send them with Harold and Kumar to Guantanamo Bay.
Man, Gitmo's too good for him. Or actually, you know what? On second thought, maybe it's good to put him in Gitmo.
We could just put Cheney in charge of their interrogation.
That's fucked up.
By the way, the House vote to overrule the Arizona objection is 303-121. That 121 being the Republican caucus.
Well, it was originally 140, wasn't it? So I mean, that's pretty impressive that a bunch of them got. So all of a sudden, they realized they weren't wearing their big boy pants, huh?
It's only about 20 or so, but yeah, I mean, it is
the fact that any numbers shook off,
True. Still the majority of the caucus, though. It also includes the minority leader and the second in command. So,
maybe they should all just be expelled from Congress.
There is a motion on the table to do that, I believe, or at least being drafted.
Well, there is a way to do that, but I don't think you're going to get 3/4 out of the chambers.
I doubt it. Yeah, but you should at least say.
Or yeah, at least bring it up. And apparently they're now getting back to the joint session now. So
Well, progress, right?
yeah,
They got 45 minutes before they're in breach of the Constitution.
Oh,
well, not well. I mean,
I'm exaggerating slightly.
Yeah, you're exaggerating slightly. I mean, I mean, it's like the process was still going on. Apparently, it was basically they just picked up from where they left off when they had to adjourn at the assignment of the chair, which is basically pause and not end.
Yeah, the date is prescribed constitutionally that they're
Right.
supposed to get it done today.
Right, but when things get tampered.
Yeah, when psychopaths enter the building.
Yeah, when literally psychopaths enter the building. Which, this day would have been probably a whole lot worse if what we did here in this state that I speak to you from last night hadn't occurred.
Yes, which thankfully that went well. Although apparently the fuckheads have not actually conceded.
Well, Leffler deciding to drop off the cruise wagon is probably as best of a concession as you'll get.
By
And
the way,
also,
can we just start calling him Raphael so that nobody can forget that he's Latino?
yeah, or even better, Raphael from Calgary.
Yes, he's a Canadian Latino.
Yeah, because he was born in Canada. Let's remember that, folks. Yes, it was on a U.S. base, but still, or the U.S. still, but yeah. So we'll have a Democratic trifecta in 2 weeks because of what we did down here.
Yay!
And John Ossoff went over the 0.5 mark tonight, so no recount. Sorry, Dave, you're done.
But Trump's gonna ask him to find more ballots.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be talking about that, but fucking.
We could
Instead,
still
we get
talk about that
instead we get the world's shittiest actual attempted armed overthrow of.
Nah, man, I think we still should talk about that because without that, it would make today a whole lot freaking worse, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about this in the car we were going out clothes shopping for Kira, and we were talking about this in the car, and I said, this is all because Obama didn't put his foot down on these fuckers who took over that wildlife preserve.
Yeah.
That certainly didn't help.
If he had taken decisive action against them and held them,
You really think it would have changed things? You really think they would have not seen that and go all apeshit with that? Come on.
I said let them go apeshit, but the point is that they might not have thought about doing this again.
No.
If somebody was actually held to account for some kind of seditious act against the United States of America, then maybe people would take the word sedition seriously. Because we still have never punished the Confederates for their actions. It was all, well, we need to let the nation heal, so let's just reintegrate the South and forget about it. Don't forget that. That's why we have an apologist movement today, is because we kind of just let that go.
Speaking of Confederates, guess what never happened during the Civil War that happened today?
Yeah, Confederate flag was in the building. Yeah. Somebody came and walked around the Capitol with the Confederate flag.
I think it's like for all of our grandstanding as a nation for the last 150 years about the idea of loyalty and patriotism to the United States, when actual tests of patriotism come down the pike, we fail them consistently every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on who is.
I mean, but of course, we all know the reason why we didn't go hard on the Confederacy after the Civil War is because the people in charge were racist just as much as they were.
Yeah.
I suppose, but that's not the point. The point was that it was an insurrection against the Union, and we can't have that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the reason is.
No, it does matter what the reason is, specifically here. It does.
Well,
if it's a reason that unites the two sides, but it's just like, well, we can't really do that. Oh yeah, no. But then at the end of the whole thing, they're too scared to put the foot down because at the end of the day, they're just as racist as they are, or as they were.
Exactly agree to that because of, there was a specific person who was, that was Andrew Johnson. Because the Republican Congress of the time absolutely wanted to punish the South. And if Abraham Lincoln had been president, that may have happened. To give you an idea of where I'm going with this, Andrew Johnson pardoned all of the Confederate soldiers.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
So
this is you want to talk about like some people were talking about Reagan being the great enabler that made all this happen, and I said I dispute you on that because Reagan was merely a mouthpiece of a movement that had already existed for 30, 40, 50 plus years, from redlining in the 1940s through today. Plus, Goldwater republicanism predates Reagan by at least 20 years.
Right.
And so on and so forth. And the real fact of the matter is that there's heavy questions about how in charge Reagan actually was.
Oh, he was definitely probably fully in charge, at least for the first term. The second term, or probably more specifically, he probably wasn't all there after he got shot.
I had to give some people history lessons because apparently they completely skipped the 12 years in between Reagan and W. Bush. They're like, they forgot about Bush's father and Clinton. They're like, yeah, I mean, Reagan had this great roaring economy and then W flushed it. And I'm like, it's like, did you hold space?
There was recessions in the Reagan Bush years.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell him. I'm like, first of all, H.W. Bush, W's father, get the letters straight, inherited Reagan's shit economy and then got himself embroiled in the Iraq War and didn't bother to actually do anything about it. And that fell to Clinton to actually do that. He created a roaring economy with some minor problems, which we don't want to quibble too much about, But then W took Clinton's roaring economy and budget surplus and flushed it down the shitter.
Yeah.
It's almost like that there's like one side that's like actually good for the economy, and it's not the side that always fucking says that the best thing about them is how good they are for the economy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, and why wasn't Obama in the Oval Office on 9/11?
Right.
It's like when you have a party whose economic policy is to cut taxes and yet not raise others in order to fill in that gap,
or at least cut spending to cover those cut taxes.
Right. It's like when you have a party whose economic policy literally is antagonistic to logical math. You're obviously going to have this situation, but yet, because of other considerations that have nothing to do with the economy, these people keep getting elected to Congress or the White House or whatever office you can imagine.
Apparently, the right wing of our country is not even very good at converting oxygen into carbon dioxide.
It's not. They're antagonistic to science.
And they would dispute me on that because they would say that's me trying to institute cap and trade and a carbon tax.
To get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to make up a metaphor for cap and trade, aren't you?
Yeah, well. Yeah,
as they go back to huffing their glue.
Yeah, let it be just them.
Yeah. It's like, that's a lot of methane, sir. It's like, sir, that is not my religion. It's like, no, you're thinking Methodist. It's like, you're not even good at words. I have a lot of big words.
I have all the best words.
You notice I started to do the impression and then stopped because I can't even bring myself to try to make light of Um,
An actual monster.
We'll call him the piece of shit of the United States.
A little gentle, but all right.
I think we should at least try to continue to do that because,
Huh?
again, this day is not going to matter in the grand scheme of things because in 2 weeks' time, he's out of there.
Depends on what you
no
mean by matter. Depends on what you mean by matter.
I mean, this isn't going to matter in the grand scheme of things because what they wanted to do was to, stop the process, and the process got delayed, but it's not stopped, and it won't stop.
Won't stop till you drop.
Right, exactly. So
what a strange quarter. What a strange time we live in.
It's like, this is what happens when you put in a guy who does not give a goddamn about anybody but himself, and who, hoodwinked a good portion of this country to buy into his stuff because, they have their own other considerations. So, that have nothing to do with Republican ideology and more to do with, personal human bias ideology, I guess you could say.
This is America waking up to breaking up with a narcissist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anybody who's ever been through that experience, the blaming, the gaslighting, the insane conspiracies, the threats of violence, all of that. This is all par for the course. Like as soon as it started happening, I was like, "Yep, this is the fucking narcissist playbook right here."
Mm-hmm.
I said, and this is what we got. We knew what we were getting into, and we as a nation ended up. Those that are his supporters are basically his battered wives.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think they knew what they were getting into. We knew what was going to happen, but I don't think the rest of the laymen knew.
Yeah,
they know. They were more obsessed with owning libs than they were with actually, preserving the Constitution. Nobody gives a shit about the Constitution until it serves their interests.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the age-old thing. I don't give a shit unless it happens to me.
Mm-hmm. And not in my backyard.
NIMBY, baby. NIMBY.
Death now stands at 4.
Yeah. 3 people died from medical emergencies, apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, honestly, I can't shed a tear for him.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on who the 3 other people who got hospitalized are.
Because
true. But if they're part of these, this mob, I don't feel sorry for them one bit. Maybe if they have kids, I'll feel sorry for the kids, but that's about it.
I didn't necessarily want to go negative tonight.
No, I mean, yeah, I honestly, we could do a mix of both.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The problem is it's hard to find a silver lining here. I mean, there are silver linings here. I mean, the best disinfectant is always sunlight on any negative situation.
Right.
The best silver lining is that after something like this, something good might happen because of it, but who knows?
Right.
Yeah. Well, as for the aftermath of this, it's hard to say exactly because, there's still 13 more fucking days until Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
And, these motherfuckers have said that they're not done. I'm like, but once.
But of course, the thing about it is that after this whole process is done, from what I understand, everybody's going to be going home till Inauguration Day. So it's like, yeah, you can come back, but there's going to be nobody here.
Yep.
It's like the only reason they came here today is because everybody was here. Once this thing is all over with and everybody goes home, there'll be nobody here. And also, the fact of the matter is that DC, Virginia, and Maryland are going to ensure that nothing funny business happens anymore.
Well, now that they've seen that it's for reals, they're
Yes.
prepared.
Yeah. Mayor Bowser is not going to let her city become what it is any further, and also Virginia and Maryland, the next door neighbors, are going to fill in if Trump wants to fuck around. So, because I mean, at the very least, Virginia next door. So, it's like, I think everybody's now, pretty much up to speed on what the situation and the deal is here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and thankfully, Joe Biden is right there in Wilmington, far away from this bullshit. So,
Yeah.
and he's also living in Delaware, which is not a right-wing state by any means whatsoever.
Yeah.
So,
I'm trying to think of. Go ahead.
Like this, this day was. We all had a feeling about this, what this day was going to be. We all had a feeling that this was probably going to happen. It did happen, and now everybody knows what the situation is. And now we just simply,
really hiding that they were going to do this.
Yeah, they weren't hiding it, but you just didn't know exactly how it would play out. Well, now we know how it plays out, and now everybody will, are now up to speed. So everybody's now up to speed, and everybody's now highly wadded, you could say. So, I mean, at this point, whatever happens. All I know is that 2 weeks there will be a new sheriff in town, and all of these fucking people will be out of a job.
A lot of people were talking about, well, Joe Biden's not talking about this, and Joe Biden's not talking about that, and it's like, I know that the historical precedents, especially in the age of the 24-hour news cycle, has always been that everybody lays out everything and is constantly talking about, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm always reminded of the old adage about the fastest way to make God laugh is to tell him your plans.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Biden seems to actually take that to heart. Like he's actually pretty quiet about what he's actually going to do, so that way his enemies don't have time to plot against him. He's just going to.
Yeah.
I think that he's learned from this entire experience that you just need to keep quiet. Don't tell anybody what you're doing until you do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, to enhance that, something that got lost in the news today is that Joe Biden has designated his next attorney general, and it's Merrick Garland.
No shit.
Yeah. And this is important not just because of the whole Merrick Garland getting it denied a Supreme Court seat. It's who he was in the 90s. And that is, he's one of the top prosecutors who went after right-wing terrorists like Straczynski, McVeigh, the Atlanta bomber.
Garland. It was either going to be. I didn't. I thought that Sally Yates was going to be the jackpot pit, as I like to say, meaning the pick that he would choose, because I do think that Joe Biden was waiting for the results of last night before he decided on who to go with. And at first I thought, Sally Yates was going to be the jackpot pick, but now it's like, Merrick Garland's jackpot pick because number one, he's also someone who can play with both sides of the aisle, but on the other hand, the only reason he's getting the AG spot with, if it is with a 50-50 Senate, because that seat has to be filled. Which brings us to probably the biggest reason why he's going to be the AG here. We're going to get some judges these next 2 years.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. It was because before, the reason not to pick Merrick Garland was because they didn't want to get a conservative stuck on the DC Circuit Court.
Right. Not
and
or nobody. Period.
or nobody. Period. Right. Now that there's a glimmer of hope.
Yeah. Now that there's 50-50, now that Democrats can break ties and they control the calendar, we can get some judges up in here.
Yeah, legislation can actually be voted on. That kind of thing.
Well, that's a question considering the filibuster. We'll have to see on that.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Schumer actually decides to kill the filibuster.
Well, it wouldn't be
a lot of
really
pressure to do it. What?
It wouldn't really be up to him. It would be up to the gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. Manchin.
Yeah.
And the gentleman from Arizona, Miss Cinema.
Yeah.
Okay, and why is that?
Because it would take because without those two, you don't have a majority of your caucus. You can't have a simple majority to change rules. It does require a simple majority to change the rules, but if you don't have those two,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying he's getting a lot of pressure to do so because of the fact that they need to get shit done.
Yeah. Well,
And there's nothing to say that the next regime that takes over, the next junta that takes over the Congress, can't reinstate the filibuster later.
or at the same time, you could theoretically take the filibuster down early. Then, if we happen to lose the chamber in 2022, before 2023, put it right back in, so that you still have that power when you're in the minority again.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to play this. But I think, as I said, the smart move here is for them not to be talking about their strategy in the public eye.
Oh, they're not doing.
I know they're not, but I'm just saying that people complaining about them not doing so have no sense of proportion or subtlety.
Just because they're not telling you what their plans are doesn't mean they don't have plans.
Right. And that's that's the thing I've been trying to get at with people is it's like, no, it's not that they don't have a plan. It's that they may finally be learning not to telegraph their moves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is some Sun Tzu shit right here,
Mm-hmm. So now they're all back together in the joint session again.
Oh boy.
Let's see when they break off again. If they break off again.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting because it's probably not going to be as long as they were originally predicting with the original, we're going to object to absolutely everything.
Yeah. There's still some people objecting to shit, so.
Yeah, they're apparently objecting to Pennsylvania later on down the line, so.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's like the way they made it sound was they were going to raise objections to all 50 states.
Nah, that was probably not going to be the case. They were probably going to object to Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and then it went down to 3: Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, and now it's just down to 2. So.
Well, then this might be over a lot sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
The biggest delay being, of course, caused by the ruckus. That's how we'll refer to it from now on, the ruckus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the nicest way of putting it.
Well, because it was so ineffective, what else could you call it?
A tantrum?
Yeah. Well, yeah, tantrum and maybe some other, non-savory items that are of a thing that probably affected itself.
Not fit for YouTube.
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah.
NSFW, that's it.
I'm at this point. I'm literally on my other monitor. I don't think I've ever showed you guys photos of the command center here, but ever since I made the decision to become a full-time streamer, I've set up all of my shit everywhere here. So the computer I'm broadcasting to you from, I'm not using my iPhone this week.
Oh wow.
I'm actually using my main streaming computer. And I've got my DV cam set up, and I've got dual monitors on this one, and then on a crate above it, I've got my Mac Mini set up watching Twitch streams right now, and then I have another crate to the side here with my dual monitor stand for my gaming machine, and then to the adjacent to that, I have my emulator machine, which is an old Celeron 400.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, it's like at this point, there's no point in getting worked up about this, and this is what I've told a number of people, because once again, I've been putting out Facebook fires basically of people spewing nonsense. Oh, they're going to run out the clock and they're going to invoke the 12th Amendment. And they're going to do this. I'm like, have you actually bothered to read the Electoral Count Act?
Yeah, I mean,
It's actually
basically going to be just simply taking time off the clock.
Yeah, and that's all it is. And even if they ran out the clock, it's like, once again, they actually can't run out the clock, because if they get to the end of the 5 days and they haven't sustained an objection, the objection fails. And then all the votes count, and that's it. It's done. It's not a matter of, it will never go to the House where the delegations will vote for Donald Trump, because A, they're not stupid. And B, if you want a left-wing insurrection, by all means, votes, do a crooked election and like 1824 and vote for the guy least likely to actually succeed.
Well, thank goodness that we ensured that didn't happen here.
It's like none of that. It's like, it's like, oh, and if the impeachment works out, then Nancy gets to be president, and we get rid of Pence too, and then we'll appoint Hillary as vice president, and then Nancy will step aside and then let Hillary have 4 years. And I'm like, not how impeachment and removal works.
I mean,
I don't think Hillary wants to be a token president for a year.
The law states that if there is still a conflict with the presidency by the time 120 rolls around, then yes, Pelosi would be the president, but that's not going to happen here.
Right, but it does not state that they will be able to then invoke the 12th Amendment. It's like no, the term simply expires, and then we continue until there is a resolution.
Right.
But you see, this process with the Electoral Vote Count Act cannot go until 120 because of the fact that it has a 5-day time limit.
Right.
Which I've actually read the fucking law. There is nothing that says that, well, if this doesn't work out, then they can invoke the 12th Amendment and the House of Representatives will vote for president. No, it doesn't say that. It simply says that the process terminates 5 days hence, the end. And if they have not upheld any of the objections, then all of the objections fail, all of the votes count, and whether they ceremonially read the votes or not, the votes are counted, and whoever won becomes president. End of story. And it's like, so I had to put out these fires because there was these people just coming up with these, the New York Post. And I said, the bastion of journalistic integrity, the New York Post.
And yes, the Orange Maniac probably might think that, but he also hasn't read the law.
I don't think he knows how to read at this point.
No, he's illiterate.
Yeah, so it's
president in history. I'll say that right here.
All he does is parrot the conspiracy theories that people tell him, because he couldn't be bothered to read anything himself. So any notions that Donald Trump puts out there are because somebody told him that was the thing that he could say, or they suggested or implied in such a way that he understood it to mean that. Whether there's ill intent or not. That's his dumb butt understanding of it, and I'm no longer candy coating it. Anybody who wants to come at me about this, you're a dumb butt too. You're a deplorable. I'm not running for office. Get fucked. Stay there and hit him with the hard T.
Damn.
Is that clear enough for everybody?
Well, as clear as you'll ever get.
Yep.
And I'm not worried about getting canceled for that statement because it is factually accurate. I'm tired of people being scared by right-wing people and their boogeyman theories and holding people to standards they don't actually hold themselves to. Oh, well, so and so should resign. Well, fuck you, dude. What about the C Street gang? Did they ever resign? Oh, yeah, 2 of them are still in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the whole wide stance thing in Idaho?
Mm-hmm.
You know? How many people actually resigned over the savings and loan scandal? How many people actually, huh?
I said not many, if any.
Yeah, how many people resigned over the check cashing scandal?
Not
Who,
many at
you know,
all.
a bunch of people got what was it, censure of Congress, but did they actually receive any jail time?
Mm-hmm.
Some bank executives went to prison,
Mm-hmm.
but miraculously, no members of Congress, to the best of my knowledge, were ever actually indicted. I could be wrong on that, so I'll allow that wiggle room, but not enough of them to make a significant dent in my memory. And believe me, even though I was quite young when all that stuff went down, I remember it vividly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just amazing to me. It's like Al Franken should not have resigned.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't be in a lot of the shit we're in because he was actually getting to the heart of the matter on a lot of this Donald Trump bullshit.
Nah, he deserved to resign.
Yeah.
You
Can't
think
support
so?
that.
You really think so?
Oh yeah, given that
Probably-
6
probably-
credible sexual harassment allegations. Yeah,
We would have lost that seat.
Yeah.
The problem isn't that people have resigned or haven't resigned that should have. It's that people. No, wait. The problem is that a lot of people who should have resigned haven't.
Yeah, but the thing is, you see,
Or
it's,
they-
once again, I think they should have hammered forth the point that it's like, no, wait a minute, no Republican accused of the same thing has ever lost their seat.
I'm like, well, that's the difference in parties.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the other side does those things that doesn't mean you should be exactly like them. That's the trouble with being the good guys. Yeah.
So after all of that, after all the talk about my state here, nobody objected to Georgia. Well, at the very least, the House members objected to Georgia, but nobody from the Senate. So, I guess Pennsylvania's the last one, and that's it.
Yeah, the thing I saw about Rudy said that he was urging them to protest on 10 states, I think. But fuck him. So
So, yeah, apparently a Georgia Republican representative.
Giuliani, the president's lawyer, which is apparently his name now.
Nah, just call him Rudy G like I do.
Rudy G.
Yeah, loudmouth Rudy G or just Rudy G at this point.
Well, because we should probably take him as seriously as LEG.
If that helps you. So, but
Kira's sending me messages on Discord. Objection raised. Pence, as required by the United States Code and Constitution, is it in writing, signed by representatives in both the House and the Senate? Objector, it was, but after the events of today, several of the signatories have withdrawn their objection.
apparently Loeffler decided to take her tail between his legs and get the hell out.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah. So Georgia is now pretty much sustained. And, well, that means that pretty much that's a wrap. Because apparently the only other objection they're going to make is Pennsylvania, and it's going to be a lot like 2 hours of nothing. Because if you listen to the actual debates that they had for those 2 hours, a lot of it wasn't even about Arizona. So
this is a little bit like the actual court cases leading up to this fiasco, and that is that, you know, members of Congress attempting to not actually be censured by Congress for lying to Congress are raising their objections and then, green eggs and hamming this whole thing.
yeah.
Because they don't actually have a legal leg to stand on with their objections. They're just wasting time to try to make this as difficult as humanly possible. That's it. It's political theater for their base. That's it. And a lot of them lost their stomach for it as soon as the actual insurrection started happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean we're not safe in the fucking Congress anymore? Oh shit.
Yeah, and apparently after the Georgia objection was not able to be entertained, they all applauded.
Well, after the first objection floundered 93-6.
Yep, that was it.
And everybody's like, well, wait a minute, that's not 100 people. And it's like, right, that's because one of the senators' term expired and they didn't seat anyone else yet. That race is still being decided because of, how close it was with Ossoff and his victory. But
well, as I said, Ossoff is going to be over the 0.5 at the end, so that is not going to be a problem.
Oh, I know there's not going to be a recount, but I'm just saying, as far as certifying it, they had to wait till the last possible second.
Well, they wanted to get all of the votes in, and you kind of understand that.
Yeah.
So
Lord knows we wouldn't want any more of that impropriety. What with those Republicans, those dastardly Republicans in the Georgia government colluding with the Democrats to overturn the duly elected whatever the fuck. Right? Isn't that the narrative? I mean, obviously, all of these Republican governors and Republican legislatures and Republican officials in all these red states, just colluding with Democrats. How could they betray imperious leader?
Grand divine leader.
I mean, that's why I think he liked Kim Jong-un so much, was because
Did you see that fucking tweet he deleted?
No.
A sacred fucking landslide election. Fucking mind the rest of it his exact words.
Okay, what? I didn't understand any of that.
Yeah, he's talking about the tweet that he put out. What was it, like 7 o'clock?
The Orange Maniac.
Yeah.
One of the 2 or 3 tweets that's currently banned.
It was the video that basically said, "Go home. It was a stolen election, but go home." Was the video, and then the tweet that came at about, I think, 7 o'clock, if I recall correctly, was,
This is what happens when a sacred landslide election is, I forget if you used the word stolen or overturned or whatever the fuck.
I think it was taken from it was
That's
taken
it,
from Patriots, yeah. This is what happens. Remember this day. Go home, but remember this day.
Yeah.
If he's not chained to a rock at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean after he's out of office, then the world has no concept of justice.
I hesitate to say this on a recording, but I was joking to my earlier about parents about how I hope we could deport him, maybe he'd get sent to Russia or something, and they said, well, they wouldn't want him or something. I was like, well, if he gets sent to Russia, then maybe that has a way of solving itself. And then,
give him to Iran.
We have no idea what happened. He just fell off the balcony. I can't Russian accent right now, and landed in a dumpster full of old KGB neurotoxin. I have no idea how this could happen.
Dude, if they gave him to the Russians would give him to their allies in Iran, because apparently the Ayatollah wants to have a conversation.
And not a good
I'm just
one.
saying.
Hey, you know what? We exchanged Donald Trump for a full forgiveness of what was it? Operation, whatever that operation was that took out most of Dick. Hey, That's a good trade-off, I'd say. You get Donald Trump, you get Donald Trump, and a forgiveness for what happened in the 1950s, and over the shot and everything else, and we can work together on other things.
Sounds fair to
I
me.
think that sounds fair to me. Yeah. Like nobody's gonna shed a tear over giving Donald Trump to the Iranians. It's not like giving somebody that people actually like.
It would be so
Except for
much
those-
easier. It would be so much easier than actually trying to prosecute a billionaire in the United States.
Yeah, give it to people who could just get it done within 10 minutes.
Yeah, you know, it's like let's put all of our foreign aid to good use for once.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
You know,
So,
Iran's over there singing "You've Got a Friend in Me." We'll solve all of your problems.
yeah.
Oh my god. The timing of that was so perfect too when they basically put out the indictment
Mm-hmm.
in the world court, and they're all like
We were just following orders.
well, fucking what the hell was the name of the Iranian general that we killed? Was
Kasim,
was that-
I think.
Was that Khashoggi or what was his name?
Kasim. I think it's
Soleimani?
Kasim. Soleimani, yeah, that's it.
Soleimani, yeah. It's like, look, we committed a massive violation of the Geneva Conventions with that strike. He was actively in a operation against the United States when we took him out.
Yeah.
There's no justification for that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we think he might do something bad in the future because he did bad stuff in the past. Once again, there's a process for that.
Yep.
Bin Laden, and keeping in mind that military officials in Iran are technically heads of state.
Yeah.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. There shouldn't even be a quibble about it. He's out of office.
Yeah.
Send him over.
Yep. So yeah.
Then we don't have to worry about him in 2024.
Well,
I mean, assuming he doesn't choke to death on a chicken bone or something eating KFC. Of course, I'm bitter because I had a negative experience at KFC tonight, so I guess we can not count on their endorsement for the show anytime soon. Oh God, I feel ill.
What, did you get a bone?
Yeah.
Just
There was no pickles on my chicken sandwich. It tasted like they needed to change the fryer oil. I made the mistake of getting that peach and honey flavored Mountain Dew.
that sounds like an error, yes.
They didn't offer us dipping sauce. The guy actually winked at me when I asked for my replacement cup because of COVID protocols for refills and said, "Don't worry about it." He actually winked at me.
By the way, another House Republican objection, this time from Michigan. No senator signed on. Biden wins Michigan.
There you go.
And by the way, apparently the Michigan challenge was brought up by my congresswoman.
Oh,
Marjorie Taylor Greene, that woman. Yeah.
The QAnon crazy.
Did you actually articulate air quotes with your voice?
Well known for her relevance to the state of Michigan.
Yeah. Did you actually articulate air quotes when you said "my"?
Yes, I had to.
Because I remember your tweet. I remember your tweet last night.
Well, I have to say she's my congresswoman, but she's
only in the sense that she presides over your district.
correct.
Not in the sense that you actually give a damn what her opinions on anything are.
No, man, no. I just got to put it out there that I live in her district, but she doesn't speak for me because I don't want people getting a broad brush. Because let me tell everybody here that 75,000 people in this district did vote against her via her Democratic opponent who dropped out because of domestic issues. So all I'm saying is that she'll be challenged next time in 2022, and hopefully we can get somebody that can get a little bit more out of her. I mean, she'll probably still get ruined in re-election because this district is red as hell, but
Yeah.
The one who's a QAnon supporter, like that one lady who got shot.
MTG, yeah. I mean, she's a Q freak. She doesn't want to say that now, obviously, but she is. So, but yeah, it looks like that Pennsylvania will be the only other big objection that will be forcing a split up, and once that's over with, probably by 3-4 o'clock this morning, it'll be all over.
Yay.
So, it is what it is.
I'm reading about the latest meeting of the DPRK. It seems more fitting at this time all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un's policies for economic prosperity in North Korea.
Oh.
Unbelievable. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Nah, I mean, at least he ain't shooting shit, so.
Yeah.
It's like, but, it's like.
I mean, I'm not laughing at the idea that he's, putting forward his plans right now. I'm laughing at the irony that that's somehow more settling to consider than our current status of our election.
Yeah, more normal.
Yeah.
More normal crazy.
Apparently, he actually issued an apology to the North Korean people for the continuing COVID crisis and the closing of the borders and the lack of peace with South Korea.
Wait,
Huh?
COVID exists?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if Kim Jong-un says it, it must be true, right?
Well, I mean, he's pretty much was like denial, like, wait, he apologized for COVID. That means COVID actually probably infected North Koreans. That goes against what he was saying for months, that nobody got infected.
Well, that's what I'm reading in the article was that he offered a tearful apology to the North Korean Assembly.
Wait, so why would he be tearful about COVID? Didn't y'all said for months that nobody got infected? Well, I guess that's not the case now, huh? I mean, you know for a fact that it got in there because that Chinese border is fucking narrow as hell.
Right.
So.
And also leaky as a sieve.
That might actually be an insult to civs, my friend.
Well, at least civs don't have a Twitter account. At least not yet.
Yeah, we'll give them one soon. Anyhow, Nevada, another House objection, no senators rejected. We'll get into Pennsylvania here soon, but I think, considering how we pretty much have really, all of us are probably exhausted, and we really don't have anything much else to say other than, this day happened, and we people here in Georgia say you're welcome in making this day at least somewhat better over the fact that we're gonna have a Democratic trifecta in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. That's really all that we have to say.
Yeah, I'll take a narrow margin over no margin.
Yeah.
On a more positive note, check out this new Digimon. He looks like Fluffy and a friend.
But yeah, I mean, we're just exhausted, like probably you all are. So I'd say we just call it a 9, call it a week here.
Oh yeah,
month,
yeah.
really.
I've got to go stream some retro games or some bullshit.
If you have the energy for it.
Yeah. I probably get I got some emulators and I got some discs sitting on my desk here. Maybe I'll just sit on stream and show off CD jewel cases or something.
Just have them on a lazy Susan while you just pass out in the background.
Yeah, just basically do something to say that I did something today.
Well,
but we're all exhausted.
What's sad about it is that the mobile gaming show at 6 a.m. is infinitely more popular than my retro gaming show at night.
Well, maybe it's because people are getting up for breakfast or something. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I never promised I would win any of these games.
I mean, you are kind of late for East Coast, at least. I know you're not as late for where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I got some Mac.
So yeah, I think at this point we should just like call it a week.
Okay, well, talks of insurrection and hitting them with the hard T aside.
Yeah.
I still don't get the hard T thing, but you can explain that later.
It's a reference to the C word, and you don't really want to
Okay.
actually say it on the air. It's how you say the last letter of that word.
Okay.
It's something I picked up off of TikTok, and it's probably not for the best.
So,
all right.
So yeah, this week is probably one for the trash can.
Yeah.
Not one of our best shows.
Nah,
Sorry.
it's all right. It wasn't worse. Yeah. It wasn't the worst. There was some dead air there, but
yeah, it's not one of our best. We apologize, folks. We'll be better next week. We hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do this on my show because we're just drained.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're beat. That's the thing. It's like how many how many hits can we take?
Yeah.
Well, we're currently living in 2020's bonus DLC. That ends.
Call it a bonus DLC. I call it a hangover. Whatever you want.
I said on Twitter a few days ago that the real New Year's doesn't begin until Inauguration Day, because we still have to deal with Trump in power and ensuing results. Once he's out of power, it's a whole different world. Like like the
I mean,
the
at this point,
insurrectionists.
all we have to do is like.
Yeah, the insurrectionists today better hope in those 13 days Trump issues them a pardon, because the new administration's going to prosecute them. And they
didn't mask themselves. They didn't hide their identities. They're there in black and white and right in front of your face.
That one fucker who stole mail off Pelosi's desk is in deep shit, because the postal police is not
they do not fuck around.
Yeah.
Hey, there was 2 movies about it starring Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, you put your face on camera, motherfucker, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got that last reference in there. I feel like that redeemed this episode.
Yes. So,
All right. Next week, hopefully, we'll have something nicer to talk about. We'll be scanning the news feeds and Twitter throughout the week to try to find some glimmer of hope in all of this chaos.
Yesterday,
so,
yeah, especially with taking Georgia. What's that?
Georgia's officially in the can. We ensured that this day was not as bad as it otherwise could have been. It could have been extra draining if we had failed down here, but we gave you a jackpot. We're going to have a Democratic trifecta in 2 weeks. This is basically the last gasp of everybody at this point.
I mean, it's not 2008, but still.
I mean, we still got a trifecta.
Also, realistically speaking, it's probably going to be New York who gets first dibs on Trump. Maybe Georgia, maybe other people, because he's going to still commit crimes when he's out of office.
Right. But now people are actually looking at him, which was probably the worst mistake of his so-called political career, as brief as it is. He brought attention to himself, and that's one of the first rules of being a crook, is that you don't bring attention to yourself.
He's a massive.
Yeah, there you go. Kira says it's the first rule of basic training in the military is don't bring attention to yourself.
Well, they violate that all the damn time.
Right?
But
yeah, just talk to those 2 guys I rescued from the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So again, we'll try again next week, and hopefully we'll have a more pleasant show because we'll have something more interesting to talk about politically, of course, and then be sure to tune in for my stream coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'll be playing some kind of retro gaming. It's looking very strongly like I will be playing some Turbo Duo stuff, maybe even some Castlevania Rondo of Blood, the real one, not the PSP remake, because I actually own it. So there's that, and then because I need something non-invasive. That if I'm going to be mad at something, I'm going to be mad at it for the right reasons. And then, of course, as Adam said on Fragments of Silicon, we Friday night, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we will be doing the Star Trek 25th anniversary game. And this is a unique Let's Play because it is based on a quote-unquote perfect playthrough I did 28 years ago. So it's a no-lose situation because the only thing we have to be good at is our commentary. And I think Adam knows a thing or two about Star Trek, so I have a feeling it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on the behalf of the crew at Last Newsdesk on the left, this is Mac Paladin reminding everybody to be safe in the new year. Thanks for listening, and stay safe out there, kids.